Hey, Beastista here, and welcome to the CDL Semi-Finals. So last time you might have watched my videos, I had clinched playoffs, and so I didn't really want to upload any videos from there into now. And so from then, I ended up going 7-1 in the regular season, and I got the second seed. And so this is what the playoffs looked like. Because I was the second seed, I was able to get a bye. I'm here at the bottom, where you see Sting like Rabombi. I'm playing against number 3 team, Lidden on a Prayer. Lidden on a Prayer is actually the team I played in the finals last season, and I'm hoping to make it to the finals again this season. So I've actually played Lidden on a Prayer earlier this season. I won 2-0. However, since then, they did make some changes. So looking at this team, the big change that they made is they added Krookodile. Krookodile is very powerful into my team because it hits super effective into both my Dialga and Reshiram. In addition, it has the ability to outspeed both of them. So it seems very difficult. And then also, I don't have a great way to deal super effective damage into it with any like stab super effective damage. And so that's definitely a concern. In addition to that, they also have Whimsicott and some other major threats like Palkia and Lunala, who can both do a lot of work into my team. So let's get into the game. So here we are for game 1. So looking at my opponent's team, they have some very surprising brings. They ended up not bringing Celesteela, which is one of the big Pokemon I was expecting, and they ended up not bringing Lunala, which is one of their restrictives, which is also very powerful, and I'm surprised not to see. So the big ones I wasn't really expecting to see is the Marowak and the Sylveon and the Glalie. I was kind of expecting one of the two, but not both of them. And so here I'm just kind of figuring out what seems like the best lead, and I definitely think that Dialga and Noivern seems very good. I'm definitely leaning towards bringing Noivern in game 1 just to get some information, and Dialga seems like a pretty reasonable partner with it that doesn't really get punished by any of their leads that I can imagine. And then Reshiram's always coming to the back because Reshiram is my main Dynamax threat. I don't think I'm planning on Dynamaxing anything else other than Reshiram. And so now the final decision is of the remaining 3. And I definitely lean towards Drampa because it's very bulky and is able to kind of just be a good way to, also a good switch into some of the ghost coverage from Marowak, can Snarl lower the special attack, and Icy Wind to lower the speed. So I think it's just the best bring, and so I ended up picking it, and let's get into the match. My opponent leads Whimsicott Glalie, and this definitely is not the lead I was not necessarily expecting to see. But I am going to get the Frisk to see what their items are, and the Frisk reveals that Whimsicott is Focus Sash and Glalie is Never Melt Ice. And so with this, I definitely am thinking a little bit of whether or not Whimsicott's going to set up Trick Room because their team does seem a little bit slow. But I decided I don't think they're likely going to do that, and so I definitely just want to Iron Head into the Glalie, do some good damage. And I'm debating between getting a big chunk of damage to Whimsicott with Flamethrower or setting up my own Tailwind. The main downside of Tailwind is the possibility of them having Taunt, and the main plus side of damage is that I can possibly kill Whimsicott in the following turn. I decided to just go with the Tailwind because I don't really want to respect Taunt unless they reveal it. So here they actually end up switching out the Whimsicott, which is very surprising. And with that, I'm able to get a free Tailwind up. And not only do I get the Tailwind up, I also get an Iron Head into the Glalie, getting a huge chunk of damage and getting a very lucky flinch there. And then they revealed to be Moody and they gained some defense and special defense. And so here, I definitely am concerned of the possibility of maybe a Dynamax Marowak. And so my main plan is just to lower its damage output with the Breaking Swipe. And then the Flamethrower from this range should easily kill Glalie. I don't want to risk a miss. So they withdraw Glalie, which is definitely surprising, into Whimsicott, which is even more surprising because no matter what I was going to do into that move, that was going to take a big chunk of damage. And as we see here, Flamethrower does 90% damage to this Whimsicott, and then the Breaking Swipe doesn't affect Whimsicott, but it does okay damage into Marowak, but namely lowering its attack, which is its big benefit. And here they Poltergeist into the Noivern, which actually avoids, which is another really lucky turn. So I had back-to-back very lucky turns with the Miss Poltergeist and the flinch from the Iron Head. But now I definitely feel like I'm in a very commanding position, and so here I just decide the Flamethrower seems like a very easy move, and then Breaking Swipe as a means to just lower the Marowak stack even more. And so here we get the clean flamethrower off and killing the Whimsicott. And though they have Tailwind up as well, we still outspeed them, and we get a clean breaking swipe into the Marowak, getting it at -2. And here they, however, get a Curse Body, which is really annoying because I definitely just wanted to keep on clicking Breaking Swipe. But now I can't click it for the next couple of turns. And the Poltergeist does just under 50%, which is very convenient for me, meaning that I probably take another one. So they bring out Crocodile, and Crocodile reveals that it is not Intimidate. And so here I'm just deciding whether or not it's going to be Moxie or if it's going to be Anger Point, and then you're going to have some sort of Anger Point stuff. So I'm checking for any switch ends, and I don't really have a great switch into this, so I decided to just Shadow Claw into the Marowak and go for a Hurricane into the Crocodile, because this is going to do a fair amount of damage, and if it Dynamaxes, which is what I'm kind of expecting, it has a chance to confuse, which would be huge. However, they just switch out Crocodile, which I definitely am surprised to see, and they bring out the Glalie. And with that, I get a pretty clean kill on the Glalie, and I get a Shadow Claw into the Marowak for pretty good, for a reasonable chunk of damage. So I understand this to a certain extent. Their decision, so as we can see, I do pretty good damage, but their decision was to kind of just stall out the last turn of Tailwind so that they have Tailwind while I don't. So this almost certainly means that Crocodile does not have Protect. That's definitely what it shows me. And so I don't know if it means it's all Assault Vest or if it just has no defensive moves. But, with this, they have 2 turns of Tailwind, which I can't do anything about. And so I would love to Breaking Swipe here, but I'm still disabled. And so I just go for another Shadow Claw into the Marowak and decide to just click the Tailwind because, I don't expect it to work. I expect to die before I can move because they outspeed me with their Tailwind. But, there's no reason not to click it because I don't think I really want to switch anything into an attack. So they end up detecting the Marowak, which makes me not be able to kill it. And they get a clean Darkest Lair into my Noivern, killing it. However, I definitely feel like I'm in pretty good shape because they do have their Marowak is at -2, and they're down in Pokemon. However, neither of us have Dynamax, and it's very late in the game. And so here it's the last turn of Tailwind, and so my plan is just to Shadow Claw into the Marowak and set up an Icy Wind so I can outspeed the following turn. I definitely would like to click Breaking Swipe over Shadow Claw if I had the ability to, but because of the Curse Body I can't. And so there's not much to do other than debate on protecting. But I decide that because I have the Sugar Berry, there's not much reason to protect, and I'm just going to Shadow Claw and set up an Icy Wind. So Crocodile ends up Dynamaxing, which is not too surprising, and they Max Quake into my Dialga. And with the Sugar Berry, I should take this quite comfortably. And we see that I do take it pretty well. It does, a little bit under 50%, which means even without the Sugar Berry, I'd actually survive this. Which means that the Crocodile is not max attack. And they Poltergeist into my Dialga because my Sugar Berry activated. It doesn't do anything, and then my Shadow Claw is able to kill the Marowak. So now I'm in a very good shape because I can also get this Icy Wind off, and now my Dialga should outspeed because Tailwind is over and their Crocodile is at -1 speed. And luckily also the disabled on my Breaking Swipe is gone, and so I have the ability to just quick Breaking Swipe, lower the attack, click Icy Wind, lower the speed, and basically there's not much that's going to be able to get them out of this unless the only thing that really gets them out of this at this point is if they are Angered Point and I unluckily get a crit. But even with that, I think in the back having Reshiram, I think I'm pretty safe because I can always just Dynamax and kill it. I'm deciding I don't really want to Dynamax either of these because they are pretty low HP, and in addition, the Dialga has a little drop in its attack, and so I'm just kind of deciding to wait until to Dynamax with Reshiram, and stall out their Dynamax by just slowly lowering their attack with Breaking Swipe. And so as we see, we get another Breaking Swipe off, lowering its attack even more. They Max Dragon once again, lowering my attack even more from this, but I'm still at 9 HP, so just barely survived that one. Get another Icy Wind off, lowering its speed a little more. And so this game is definitely over. I definitely 100% win this game. Now it's just kind of figuring out, right now I'm actually, one of the important things I want to do is figure out whether or not they are Assault Vest. And with the damage calcs, I want to kind of figure out what item they are, because that will be very useful in the later games. And so here I just click the Icy Wind just to lower speed a little more and deal even more damage. The Breaking Swipe, now, they're doing okay damage. And with this Icy Wind and it not being Dynamax, I can see a little bit clearer. And with this, I can say that it actually is in fact a Assault Vest. And then the Snarl here surprisingly does not kill Drampa. Drampa's at 2 HP, just barely survives. And so luckily for me, they only get to see the last Pokemon I brought in the game, with them being at minus 3 attack, -4 special or speed. And here, just go for another Breaking Swipe and another Icy Wind for the win. And so that went very well. I definitely got very lucky with the turn 1 flinch and the turn, I think 2 or 3 missed on the Poltergeist. However, I think I was in okay shape for the most part, because I definitely think that they some of their switches definitely gave me very advantageous positioning. But with that, let's get to game 2. So here we are for game 2. So based on my previous match, I'm just trying to think of what adjustments I'd want to make, if any. And honestly speaking, I don't see much. I feel like all my Pokemon did exactly what they want, and they didn't even see my final Pokemon. And I definitely feel like Reshiram would have done a lot of work. And so I decided I just want to kind of lean the same 4. The Dragon Ball doesn't look like it'd be super useful. And the Naganadel seems like it might be okay at best. But I definitely decide that it's just the same 4. And so with that, let's get into game 2. So my opponent leads Whimsicott Glalie again. And I lead Noivern and Dialga again. So the exact same leads as we did game 1. And we get the Frisk, where we see that they have the same items, the Focus Sash and the Never Melt Ice. And so here, I'm, leaning towards the double up onto the Whimsicott based on what they are. This time I'm expecting them to maybe Tailwind or maybe set up a Trick Room. And here they do set up the Tailwind. And so I am hoping to be able to get the double up. But they end up having Icicle Spear, which I definitely wasn't expecting. I was expecting, Ice Beam or single move 1, but however, Icicle Spear makes a lot of sense, and ends up getting the easy kill on my on my Noivern there. And here we got an Iron Head off to Whimsicott, which does a clean 90%, and the Glalie gets a Moody Boost, which increases its speed and lowers its special defense. And so here, I don't think Drampa can take an attack particularly well from it, and so I decided to bring in Reshiram. And so with this Reshiram, I'm thinking about, trying to kill it, but I also don't want to take a Icicle Spear damage. And so I decided to just max Flare into the Glalie, because this should easily kill it. And the Icicle Spear damage shouldn't be too bad once, after I've Dynamaxed. And so that's the plan for that. And I decided to just go for the Iron Head into the Whimsicott to hopefully clean it off. So they end up switching out Whimsicott into the Palkia, which definitely would have been nice to have, it could have possibly read into it, but definitely hard to read into it. But we Dynamax Reshiram. However, because of the Moody Boost and Tailwind, they outspeed me with the Glalie, and the Glalie gets some Icicle Spears into the Reshiram, and it ends up getting 3, which is about the average, which, does okay damage, but not great. but we're able to get a nice clean max flare into the Glalie, and that is able to get the clean one shot, which 100% was what I was expecting it to. And we also set up the sun, which isn't super relevant but could be useful, and at some point. So here we get an Iron Head into the Palkia, which does do a pretty good amount of damage and is going to be really nice, especially because it seems like Palkia is likely the Dynamax Pokemon this game. And so here I'm definitely expecting Palkia to Dynamax, and I'm expecting Fake Tears into the Reshiram. So I'm decided to protect and then try to kill the Whimsicott so that they can't Fake Tears me, because I should be able to take any non-Fake Tears move from Palkia. So they Dynamax Palkia, and they end up going for the Protect on Whimsicott, which is definitely a little bit awkward. It's not too bad because I also just max Guard, and hopefully they just target me, which they do with a max Quake, and so I just negate their turn. However, if I would have maxed Dragon, I definitely think I'd be in an amazing position because, I can take that max Quake pretty well. And so here I decided to just go for the Iron Head and max Dragon into the Palkia, since I don't think they have any switch-ins at the moment. So Whimsicott is switched out, and they bring out the Marowak, which definitely is going to take the Steel Spike better. Iron Head better. And so we see the max Quake, which I take fairly comfortably. Even if it was a max Dragon, I should have survived. However, with this, we are able to get a max Dragon, and this should do a huge chunk of damage even with the special defense boost. As we see, it very closely kills. And sadly, if I would have maybe Breaking Swiped instead, I probably could have killed Palkia here. However, it's hard to do that without knowing how bulky it is, and we reveal that they are weakness policy on the Palkia, which is very concerning right now. And especially because the Iron Head is very not particularly relevant right here. However, luckily the Tailwind is over, which means that both my Pokemon should outspeed the Marowak here. So now that they have a +2 special attack, I'm in a very awkward position. I definitely think that one of my two Pokemon is going to die, most likely Reshiram. They considered a switch out, but I don't think Drampa can take a +2 Max Dragon, and so I decide to just accept that Reshiram is going to die and go for the Breaking Swipes to hopefully kill the Palkia and the Shadow Ball on the Marowak, just in case for some reason they target Dialga, even though I'm pretty sure Dialga should survive any attack from Palkia. And so they end up protecting their Marowak, which is okay, but because definitely not that big of a deal. But they do get the Max Dragon off into the Reshiram, which definitely would have killed the Drampa if I would have brought it out. And so now I'm definitely feeling very good if this Breaking Swipe kills, but if it doesn't, I'm feeling very bad about my position. And here we get the Breaking Swipe and seeing if it kills. At -1, it's hard to tell, and it just barely kills. So now I'm feeling very good about my position. I think I should be able to win this game. We're able to. Now they're only down to Whimsicott, which is in very low HP. And they have the Marowak, which is not that big of a threat if I'm able to lower its attack. And so here we have the 2v2. And so I'm decided to go for the Icy Wind because I want to make sure I can outspeed the Marowak with my Dialga, even with Tailwind up. And I'm debating between protecting and just Breaking Swipes, or protecting Breaking Swipes or Iron Heads into Whimsicott. And I decide to go. So the idea of Breaking Swipes is to lower the damage I put of Whimsicott or Marowak, because Whimsicott's not that big of a threat to me, especially because I can kind of kill with the Icy Wind. And so I decided to go for the Breaking Swipe instead. And so they end up protecting the Whimsicott, which I wasn't expecting, and we get the Breaking Swipes off into the Marowak, lowering its attack, which is pretty useful. However, what I wasn't expecting is that they have Perish Song on Marowak. So one thing that's very notable is that my Drampa is actually slower than their Marowak, and I would be in great shape if they click that if I didn't click Icy Wind here. But because I clicked Icy Wind here, this actually is not great, because now their Marowak should underspeed me and Tailwind. should under CB now because of the -1 speed drop. And so now we're in this awkward position where I need to kill their Marowak or I die. And so I decided to just go for the Shadow Ball into the Marowak. Because even though I'm expecting to protect, it doesn't seem like it's going to do too much for me. I considered just trying to go for the double up into the Whimsicott, but like I said, I'm expecting Marowak to protect because they set up the Parasong, but you know, any damage is good. And then I'm just Iron Head into Whims because I don't want it to do too much damage into my Drampa. And so they end up setting up Tailwind with Whimsicott, which is a massive misplay on their side. Because of my Icy Wind, their Marowak actually undersped my team. And so they would actually win with the Parasong. Now they have to kill both my Pokemon, or they have to kill my Drampa, or they lose to their own Parasong. And so with this, you know, the game is pretty much wrapped up. There's no way Marowak is going to be able to kill my Drampa, much less maybe even survive my attacks from it, because, you know, as we see, it does a very good amount of damage, and with that special defense drop, any attack from Drampa should kill. However, we see that Drampa is now slower than Marowak, and this game is completely over. They need to somehow kill both of my Pokemon very quickly. And with this protect, I can definitely see that they are unaware of their win condition, because if they do just stall out this Parasong, they will lose because my Drampa is the slowest Pokemon on the field. And so with this, there's not much to do except just click 2 shadow moves. If Drampa had protect, I would definitely just protect because that's technically the correct move. But they just go for the double protect, and with the double protect felling, the Shadow Claw and Shadow Ball combo double up should kill, and we get a clean win. This game was a lot closer than it seemed, because I did win with 2 Pokemon and 3 Pokemon in the games. I definitely feel like if they had a little bit better luck, or maybe, I think they had a couple of misplays here or there, it definitely could have switched the game to be in their favor. But with that, I make it to finals for the 2nd season in a row, so I'm very happy about that. I successfully made it to the playoffs back-to-back seasons, going monotype teams, and let's see if I can hopefully make the finals again, or win the championship again with a monotype team. Thank you for watching. Hey everyone! For anyone who's interested in my team, this is the team I ended up bringing. This is the Dialga with the Shuka Berry. I decided to make it very bulky, and Breaking Swipe just to kind of be a wall and hopefully stall out Dynamax on my opponent's turns. We got Dragapult with Choice Scarf. The idea is to outspeed certain Pokemon under Tailwind. And so I can outspeed like Crocodile under Tailwind, get a Will-O-Wisp off, which seems like could be very useful. Or I can like outspeed Glalie under Tailwind, get a Steel Wing off. Next we have the Naganadel. The idea of Naganadel is mainly to substitute in front of the Dynamax or big damage threats, or just stall out those and then get some good damage into all their Pokemon. We have Reshiram, which is pretty much my only Pokemon I'm planning on Dynamaxing this week, with Fire, Dragon, and Ghost coverage, with the Life Orb. Finally, next we have Noivern with Tailwind, Draco Meteor, mainly for Palkia, Flamethrower mainly for like Celsteela, and Hurricane. I picked Hurricane over Air Slash because I wanted to be able to get a kill on the double up with Hurricane plus Snarl if I wanted to do the lead with Noivern and Drampa. And then finally we have Drampa, which is Assault Vest, Snarl to lower their special attacks, Icy Wind to lower their speeds, Shadow Ball for good damage to their Ghost Pokemon, and then Dragon Pulse just as stab damage. So there's my team, and hopefully you enjoyed the matches if you haven't seen them. And thanks for watching.